Hi, welcome to a self-published author's diary. I am Elodie Nowodazkij, your host for this podcast, where I share my ups and downs in self-publishing and everything in between. So this is the first time I'm recording this on video as well. So if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast and you'd like to see my face, I don't know, or maybe my cat will like it. You can also watch it on YouTube and Spotify, I think, with the video. I have been self-publishing since 2014, and I am currently working on splitting my Elodie Nowodazkij books into two different pen names. I'm keeping Elodie Nowodazkij for my YA contemporary romance and my YA romantic thrillers, new adult romantic thrillers. The Steam level is just the doors either closed or slightly open. And then my steamy rom-com with the door wide open, several times wide open. I call it my Hallmark movie with the door wide open. I am publishing those now under Elodie Now. That means I've got to do quite a lot of things, including updating my automation for my newsletters. And so I thought I'd take you behind the scenes. It's kind of like have coffee with me because those episodes are pretty short. And I thought I'd share with you a little bit of what that entails for my newsletters and also what it has made me think of when it comes to maybe my next promo for my Sweets for Love for my Swan School series, more for my Sweets for Love books. And before I get started into all of this, I wanted to make sure you knew that InkersCon 2025 is coming up. It's organized by Alessandra Torre and her team. And she has, I think, or they have more than 20 classes on business, marketing, craft, which includes talking about newsletters. It includes a class by Holly Darling, and I really enjoy Holly Darling's emails where she sends advice and tips on authors' newsletters. There's also going to be Elana Johnson talking. There's a speaker who's talking about six-figure business, somebody else is talking about bringing spice and steam to your story or enhancing your dialogues. So it's a conference I really enjoy. I always do it online. Actually, this year is fully online. I am not an affiliate, but I do have an affiliate code, not mine, but one of my friends has one, and that's the one I'm going to be using. So I thought I'd share it with you just in case. It's Golden25. I put it in the show notes. But yeah, so I'm trying to JOMO, so the joy of missing out, some classes and some conferences and some things like doing a lot more things because otherwise it just add on to my plate and then it's also money that I'm spending that I'm not necessarily recuperating. Inkers Condo is one of those conference that you can also watch after the fact. You don't have maybe you can purchase it later. I don't know how she's going to do it this time around, but I had thought that I would give myself until June and July. So in terms of spending money, so I have translations right now. I'm working with an Italian translator and my French translator on a couple of books. So I do have those costs coming up. And then in terms of classes or conference, there is Becca Syme is doing one. I think in July. She hasn't fully announced it yet. And I really want to take that one. And also there is InkersCon in June. We are with my husband planning a move, so an international move. So there is also that. But I did tell myself, right, after June, July, I will not spend any more money on conferences or translations or things like that. I'm going to wait until next year so that I can minimize the costs for a bit and up my profit. At least that's the plan for now. So right now I'm still taking that one because it's in June, most probably. But I just wanted you to know it. This long introduction was for me to tell you that there is InkersCon in case you want to take that conference, and there is this affiliate code in case you want to have a discount. So just leaving it out there. If you need to joy of missing out this one too, though, you don't need my authorization or permission slip, but Just so you know, you can also do that. The point of classes, right, is to learn and then to apply, as I'm reminding myself, thanks to what Becca Symes said in one of her podcasts and has been repeating on her free Patreon. Like, she also has like free Patreon. Anyhow, so when it comes to my newsletter and splitting my Elodie Nowodazkij books into two, I am keeping Elodie now for my steamy rom-coms. You may know that I started writing steamy rom-coms in 2019. I started with the Swansko series, which was named actually the Swansko series because of thanks to a friend during a writer's retreat. We were in Maryland, and we were in a house that was overlooking the water, and there were swans. And I was thinking about swans, I think, and she came up with the cove, and yeah, so that was during that time that I named it Swans Cove, and that retreat was in 2020, so like right right before COVID. So I started writing steamy rom-coms in December 2019 because technically the book that I was supposed to write was Miss Me, Miss Me Not, which is a romantic thriller which I'm currently writing, but it was something where I had put the main character through so much. She had a lot of trauma from a past book. And in Fear Me, Fear Me Not, if you have not read Fear Me Not, I call it my Scream meets Lifetime movie meets Criminal Minds. And Nadia was one of the side characters. And yeah, she went through a lot. And so in December, I was just able to write a little bit again because I had my autologous stem cell transplant because I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I had the autologous stem cell transplant in October 2019. And it was impossible for me to write. It was even impossible for me to read, like right after. I could not read books. I barely could read magazines. So yeah, it was one of those things that once I was able to write, putting myself in the shoes of Nadia after my stem cell was just too much. Like, I needed to be able to laugh right away from the first page almost, and I could not do that with Nadia. And so I switched to writing steamy rom-coms. And so that means that my catalog is starting to be a bit bigger, and I have, on all my books, I have a sign up for my newsletter. So some things I offer for readers is bonus scenes. So epilogues, like I put an epilogue in the book, and then there's also going to be like a bonus epilogue or like a 5 years down the line, or the wedding. Like the wedding actually may not have happened on the page. There was the proposal, and then the wedding is something that they can get by subscribing to my newsletter. Then sometimes it can be a different point of view, like a scene from a different point of view. Or it can be, if I had like a diary, it can be part of the diary from before. It can be a scene that I deleted. It can be a lot of different, like I offer a lot of different options when it comes to bonus scenes. I usually do 2 to 3 bonus scenes that I send to readers. And I send them every day for 3 days or every day for 2 days. And then the week after I send a third one. And that I actually learned, I'm doing a segue here that was not planned, but at IncusCon a couple of years ago from Katharina Maurer, and she was talking about her, and I get her newsletter, I actually read her books, and she writes billionaire romance, a lot of arranged marriage books that are, I find them very addictive to read. And they she has them newsletters, and her newsletters, I really enjoy her newsletters. She has their Herald, so like a newspaper, that she sometimes sends. And then she has those emails that she first sent with the bonus scenes. And so I thought that was a great idea. So I started doing my newsletters the same way when it comes to the bonus scenes. And then sometimes I'm not sure if my newsletters land, if they don't land. So I try different things. I try shorter length. I try longer. I try storytelling. Holly Darling is great for like ideas on storytelling. And she said recently in one of her emails, I get her emails. Holly Darling is a newsletter for authors, specialist email specialists for that, and marketing. And she was writing that now most of the times shorter newsletters seem to tend to do better than before with readers, but of course it needs to be your style, it needs to be how you'd rather write your newsletters as well. What I find has been helpful to me too is that I sometimes write my newsletters from the perspective of one of my characters. So I have a busybody in my small town, so Aunt Lucelli. Well, she sometimes writes the newsletters, and she has a column in the newspaper of the small town, so I can do it that way as well. Or I can do it from the perspective, and right now, I don't know if Jill, you're listening to this. Jill is one of my readers, and she gave me the wonderful idea to write bonus scenes for one of my books that's coming out in November from the dog's point of view, like one of the dogs, because there are several dogs in that story. And it's such a great idea. And so, like, that's something that I can also do in my newsletters that I'm writing. The thing, though, when you change pen names, you also have to update your automations from your newsletters. And that's something I'm currently doing. I'm updating all my automations from my newsletters, from my different signups. And that's quite a lot of work. But I'm also noticing that some of my automation had links that no longer work. Like I used to have a Ream, I no longer have a Ream. I have a free Patreon. So I should update those as well. I'm thinking too that I'd like to get more readers to my newsletter. And so like I'm thinking I'm also starting to have a nice catalog. I am wide with my Elodie no, I was going to say Nowodazkij, but that was my Elodie Now books. And I am thinking about putting Sweets for Love as Perma 3 in the next month. That also means I need to update the back end and perma free for a couple of months. I won't leave it for free forever, but because I'm having new books coming out, I would like to get a little bit more eyeballs on my catalog. I think Sweets for Love is a nice one to have for free because it's a full-length novel that doesn't end on a cliffhanger. I currently have a couple of perma free for that particular pen name, but they are very short novellas that end on a cliffhanger. And so it's great to like bring people to the full-length novel. But I think that having a full-length novel for free could help, especially when it comes to getting new newsletter subscribers, and then maybe get more reviews, and then maybe get more people talking about my books again, and the stories, and yeah, all those things. So when it comes to my latest newsletters that I've sent, I have sent one from Elodie Nowodazkij this past week, which was an excerpt from Miss Me, Miss Me Not, which I'm currently writing. And then the week prior, I sent from my Elodie Now email list. And that one was actually Aunt Lucelli talking about characters that she had seen on the beach on a horse. And that's my Sophie and Liam story that I'm currently writing that is supposed to come out at the end of August now because I had to postpone it because it's not going to be ready for the end of July, especially with an international move in the middle. Of course, I already wrote the book that's coming out in November, but I haven't written the book that comes out in August. The book that comes out in November is what I call my fuck it book. I'll tell you more about that book and why it is called like that in a future episode. But the one that comes out in August, I've been thinking about it and it's been percolating since 2019. So that's something about the books that I'm writing is that sometimes some of them come out, like I can write them faster because they've been in the back of my mind for much longer. I'm also taking the pacing, it's at the NS Johnson course about pacing, right? In 21 days, write a page turning books or page turner in 21 days. And it's helping me get to the meat of the story much faster as well. So yeah, talking about that, I should go and actually write, because I left Liam and Sophie in a situation that's kind of interesting. Because stop listening if you don't want any spoiler, but Liam's surprise daughter, who he did not know he had, and there's a story where I'm actually linking it to my Carrot CD series because I love doing that. So basically, the mom is going to be her mom is going to be part of the cult that was in the Gabbard CD series, and she had a one night stand with Liam. She didn't really know who he was. Like, there was a lot of different things, and the mom is kind of struggling, and so the daughter found out who her dad was, and that's how he's coming into play right now. The mom is going to be getting the help she needs, so she's not in the picture during the book part of it. And the grandparents thought that the dad actually, like Liam, knew about her. Like, there's a lot of things happening there. But the link between Sophie and Grace is that Sophie is the middle school teacher of Grace. And I just let them right now in the book where Liam and Sophie were having a moment online. I won't give too much away. And Grace just shows up and calls Liam dad. And now Sophie's like, okay, well, I'm coming. Like, I'm coming to your place now because clearly you need help. And let's figure this out. And let's maybe contact the parents, maybe contact the police. Like, let's figure things out because Liam doesn't know yet the story and all those things. So if you want to know more, you can also join my Patreon where I share excerpts about that book as I'm writing it. But that's what I need to do right now. Thank you for coming on this first video episode with me. I really appreciate it, whether you're listening to this on video or on audio. And if you have any questions for me about my newsletter or, again, what I write, examples of scenes or my the action call that I put at the end of the book, don't hesitate to ask in the comments or by sending me an email at author Elodie Nowodazkij at gmail.com. You can also get to my website by typing www, that's 3 W's, right? .dsdog.net. And dsdog.net actually comes from the genius mind of my husband, because I always say Nowodazkij is Nowds dog, Azkij, and so that's how www.dsdog.net started, which redirects you to my website. Again, thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed your coffee, if you had a coffee when you were listening to this, or your orange juice or your water, or whatever. If you have not stretched and you can't stretch, now it's time to stretch. No? Okay. On this note, to all writers out there, happy writing, and to everyone, happy reading. Bye.